Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. Recently, Making Star Wars revealed a lot of new details for the Kenobi series, and in a recent live stream they confirmed that a prominent aspect of the show is going to be Obi-Wan's PTSD-induced flashbacks and the tragedy he faced in his life. I think we're all expecting Anakin flashbacks and Obi-Wan to dwell on Anakin turning to the dark side, but something that isn't spoken about nearly enough are the other tragedies that could be explored. You see, during Obi-Wan's exile on Tatooine, he has a lot of time to dwell on his past. All of it. From being a Padawan under Qui-Gon Jinn and watching his master die, to his role as a general in the Clone Wars. Yes, the most important element of his story was his relationship with Anakin, but something I really hope they allude to is the loss of his one true love, Duchess Satine Kryze. I have touched on this before, but Kirsten White, the author of the upcoming novel Padawan, which is set 10 years before the events of the Phantom Menace, recently spoke about Obi-Wan's love life before the Clone Wars and how one key detail about her book just made the loss of Satine Kryze later in the timeline 10 times more tragic. In a recent interview with StarWars.com, Kirsten White gave a brief background on the novel and answered some questions pertaining to certain aspects of the book. When she was asked about earlier love interests in Kenobi's life, she revealed that there were none. She reveals that Obi-Wan knew not to hold on to personal attachments, and this makes his later romantic relationship with Duchess Satine during the Clone Wars way more tragic and profound. It contextualizes the fact that the only person Obi-Wan ever loved was killed in front of him and died in his arms. Kirsten White also notes that she did not want to dilute the relationship Obi-Wan would later have with Satine by introducing earlier love interests. In her own words, she said, "Obi-Wan commits absolutely in everything he does, including first love. I could not dilute that." The author also explained what the novel is trying to achieve, which is to take Obi-Wan on a journey of self-discovery. She also mentioned that Padawan would feel like it had always been part of Obi-Wan's story, and even listed Claudia Gray's amazing book, Master and Apprentice, as a work that she studied while writing. She said, "I wanted to make sure that Padawan felt like it had always been part of Obi-Wan's story, but that it made sense we had never heard about this particular adventure. I looked at who Obi-Wan became, then traced him backwards through the prequels to arrive at someone who had still a tremendous amount of growing to do, but with the foundation of who he would become. My goal with the narrative was to take him on a journey of self-discovery, so he would be ready for everything we know he'll face." White continued by saying that Padawan will offer a glimpse inside Obi-Wan's head, specifically on his thoughts of the Jedi Order and how he can grow when no authority figure is watching. And I find this quote in particular really intriguing. I was a bit skeptical when Star Wars announced that they were making more comics and novels to complement the release of the Kenobi series, because as we know, sometimes less is more. But in this instance, even though it takes place way earlier in the timeline, Kirsten White sounds like she's going to do justice to what you'd expect Obi-Wan to be like at such an early stage in his journey. She gets his psyche, and why it's important to show that. So you might be wondering, how does this tie into my earlier point about Duchess Satine? Because by this novel, earlier in the timeline, avoiding Obi-Wan having any romantic interest, the love that Obi-Wan had for Duchess Satine has been intensified, and her death has been rendered way more significant. Obi-Wan was truly enamored by her, and while we see it across several episodes of the Clone Wars, 2 of the must-watch episodes are Season 2, Episode 13, Voyage of Temptation, and Season 5, Episode 16, The Lawless. In both, you really get a glimpse at what she meant to Obi-Wan. And the one line from Season 2 that says it all is when he tells her,
"Had you said the word, I would have left the Jedi Order."
Words that should not be taken lightly, especially if you understand Obi-Wan's character and priorities. As a kid, Obi-Wan was not the most proficient Padawan. His Force abilities did not come to him easily, and he had to work twice as hard as his fellow Padawans. But this gave him drive to want to become a better Jedi, and he dedicated his entire life to it. And having had a master that was defiant of the Jedi Order in favor of the will of the Force, Obi-Wan inherited some of the best lessons and practices, although Obi-Wan was much more subservient to the Council. For him to literally be willing to give up what he's worked for, if it meant being with the woman he loved, says everything. And so when Maul pulled Satine Kryze onto the Darksaber in Season 5, fatally wounding her, imagine the pain that Kenobi felt as the love of his life died in his arms. And Satine used her dying breath to express her eternal love for the Jedi Master. And what I'm saying is, the big point of this video. We cannot underestimate what this did to Kenobi emotionally, and now that he has time to actively reflect on Tatooine, I hope they are in some way able to allude to this in flashbacks. As I say, the tragedy of losing Anakin to the dark side is the priority, but fans would love to see other aspects of Obi-Wan's life too. So let me know your thoughts of this in the comments down below. But we do have some more news, my dear friends, specifically to do with the Andor series. If you remember last year, we found out that a big portion of the show was filmed here in the UK. Specifically, a large amount of those were up in Scotland. Well, now we've learned that David Heyman is playing, quote, a significant role in Andor after he was spotted last year on set, but it's only the other day he confirmed he is in the series, and as some locals suspected, it was him. Apart from the obvious ones, many of the characters in Andor are currently unknown. We haven't had any official update from Lucasfilm. All we do know is that season 1 drops in Q4 of this year, and in the fall, they're going to start filming season 2. And so finally, my dear friends, Temuera Morrison has shared a behind-the-scenes workout video after being called Boba Fett. It's really shitty that people were calling him that, but he says it motivated him. On Instagram, Tem wrote, "Someone called me Boba Fett, so I thought I'd do something about it." I think Temuera Morrison looks absolutely excellent. He was great in the Book of Boba Fett, and I can't wait to see him as Cody in the Kenobi series, and if we're lucky, Rex in the Ahsoka show. Currently, there is no word on the Book of Boba Fett getting a second season, but many fans suspect there will be, with Ming-Na Wen hoping the same. And Temuera Morrison even clarified he himself would love a second season, even detailing what he wants to see happen. And you know what? I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I think the show deserves a second season. You can argue that season 1 was a bit clunky at times, but overall, I think it set up something major for the Mandoverse. But let me know your thoughts of this in the comments down below. But otherwise, guys, that is pretty much everything we have for today's video. If you enjoyed this one, please may I ask you to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and a huge welcome if you are. And if you want more videos not found here on YouTube, and you want to contribute a little bit more to the channel, then check out my Patreon. The link is down there in the description, and there is so much fun content on there. Live streams, comic book movies, Star Wars Explained videos, Funko Pop reviews, and so much more. Now hopefully in the next week or two, we do get a trailer of some kind. All signs are pointing to an announcement, a Bad Batch or a Kenobi trailer, so hopefully that happens. We all love when Star Wars is rocking and invigorating, and what a great rest of the year we have. But until the next one, my dear friends, I'm Star Wars Meg. May the Force be with you, always.